the window had been busted out and part of our gear had been stolen.
There's nowhere to play up here at all.
I'm sitting there kind of by myself, like waiting for my manners, and the mirrors, like the mirrors kind of like spin open like 90 degrees, like they kind of rotate open, and all these women in sexy lingerie can come walking out from behind the mirrors.
I'm just going to throw this out there that it almost sounded like you were kind of the dark side sometimes of the scene.
Just when I'd parted ways with Monuments, and so it was really, really desperate time of my life.
At the end of it, our bass player told us, like, he just looked at us and like, yeah, this is my last show.
So, like, basically back to the beast era.
Dealing with this alcohol intake, and we're at a Christian festival, and we're supposed to be a Christian band. I was kind of like, man, this sucks. This is not a good look.
Welcome back to Dark Side of the Scene. I'm your host, Brandon, alongside Ed. Ed, what's up?
Dark side of the scene. I had a bowl of shredded wheat because I'm old. Actually, that has nothing to do with anything.
I was going to say, what does that have to do with Dark Side
I know,
of the
right?
Scene?
No, actually, I told you last night I had something to rant about, and I actually didn't forget because it's been on my brain. So we have this, I live in this town. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the town I live in, but
it doesn't matter.
Does it not matter? Okay, so I live in good old Goshen, Indiana, right? And like a few years ago, there's Facebook like page for it because we have our Goshen First Fridays and whatever stuff with the community. And they had one called The Good of Goshen, and they were interviewing all these like musicians that are in Goshen. A couple of them were metal bands, and I'm like, they were talking about. I'm not really sure why they interviewed them, aside from like the idea that they're in a band. And I don't know if they serve any purpose to the community. Maybe they do. But my thing is, why the fuck wasn't I on there? I mean, I've been born and raised in this town, and most of those people they interviewed aren't even like from here. Like they just kind of came here.
Do they know who you are though?
No, I mean, I'm not in that network of people, but I find it insulting. Like, let's say figuratively I got big. I would not fucking have them try to include me in any of that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, now you care. But I'm not saying I'll ever get big. I just think that's kind of funny because, again, everybody they interviewed, it's not a Goshen born and raised. I was born and raised in Goshen, still live here. So I find that funny. I guess my band ain't cool enough. I'm not part of the cool kids. I don't strive to be, but that's just hilarious to me that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have not really a rant, but doing this podcast outside of my 10-year-old stepson's bedroom and my 12-year-old stepdaughter's bedrooms down here in the basement. Apparently they can hear our conversation sometimes, even though I have a headset on, to hear me. And my stepson was just informing my wife about a conversation about me being tied up and being beaten with bells by strippers. Apparently he must have heard that conversation. I don't remember what episode that was from, but I guess that's a dark side of doing this podcast. My children hear my bad stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, what can you do? It's adult time.
Yeah. We do this later. Not my fault. They're not asleep. Guess
right.
I'll make their bedtimes earlier.
Hey, at least you're acknowledged. My own Tom won't even acknowledge me as being anything but. And according to some people, I actually am the reason why metal shows get played at Ignition Music. I can confirm that with him, who co-owns that, but he had asked me if it was a good idea. I think we talked about this somewhere else, but like, I guess that's kind of cool. Even though there was a scene here, you know, back in the day in the early 2000s, which I didn't part of, that it's cool that like, in a way I contributed, even though I'm not in a cool article. because I'd have nothing to say. I'm like this about my town. I'm not a contributing. I'm not a pillar of the community. Let's just say that. But I'm not a piece of shit either. I mean, I guess I don't know what I'm ranting about. I'm not I'm not upset that I'm not on it, but it's just kind of funny that they interview those people and not me. But whatever.
I wouldn't even. At the end of the day, it's like, who the hell is this person, anyways, that they're interviewing? And who the hell, what is this thing that's interviewing people too? It's just like us interviewing people. Like, who the fuck are we?
That's true. I mean, we're not the pillar of the community on the internet either.
No, I just, at this point in my life, I don't give two shits. It is what it is.
Right.
If Peru went around and interviewed local musicians from Peru, I can't really say that I'm a local musician, but it is one of those things, because I did bring a lot of shows back in the day through here, but it's not like anyone fucking cares.
What was that? You had called this podcast some article. Were you trying to write in a magazine or something?
I was doing a blog.
Oh, it had nothing to do with
No, back when blogs were a thing, I guess. I don't know what I was doing. It was Dark Side of Your Scene, and I was just writing about the same topics that we're talking about. So, this is just shit that's been on my mind for a long time, but I felt like no one ever wants to bring it up, like the horror stories that bands go through of spending like thousands of dollars on recordings and never getting a fucking song back. I speak from experience. Or just all the stuff that I've dealt with. I was like, how come no one else ever talks about this shit? I can't be the only one that's dealt with it. So
right.
I started to write about it, and then kind of wrote a few articles and then stopped doing that. And now, like 6-7 years later, here we are.
Well, I thought maybe you're doing it for your local newspaper. Like, what's your newspaper called? Like the Kokomo Clown or something?
the Peru Attempt.
Really? I'd rather have
No.
the clown. The clown would have been a better name.
It's called the Peru Tribune. I don't even know if it even. I'm assuming it still. I don't know. Does anyone buy newspapers anymore?
Kokomo Clown. No, it's just all Facebook.
No,
all Facebook pages.
It's all fake news, anyways.
Basically.
But yeah, anyone out there, if you've ever been in a band and you feel like that local area has not asked to interview you, we will be the people that will interview you. We'll make it up. Your area sucks. It's okay. We don't suck. We'll talk to you.
You're not the clown to us.
No. So send an email to Brandon@darksideofthescene.com and we'll interview you, and you could be very happy about it. Even though we're just the same type of clowns, these other people apparently are too. We're just not asshole clowns.
Yeah.
On that note, we have a guest waiting, so hang tight and we'll bring him on in. I'd like to take the time to welcome our guest, Jeff, on the show. Jeff, thanks for coming out and talking to Ed and I.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Jeffrey, what were you eating?
Just right now, steak and cheese only. So steak, pepperoni, and cheese on a, I guess, hoagie roll or sandwich roll.
Damn.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It does sound good.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, it's delicious. It was it's my first meal of the day.
You said
right now?
Man.
You've been traveling all day, you said?
Oh.
Yeah, I just got in. I got in from New York at about 5 o'clock this evening. And I've been traveling for the last week and a half. I was in New Orleans for like 4 or 5 days. And then I came home for about 21 hours, just enough to pack, and then fly up to New York and spend some time up there. And yeah, I just got back today, and I was like, I got to be back in time. I was like, no matter what happens, I just have to be back in time. So this is and I was like, wait, I got to eat too. Holy shit. Somewhere along the lines, because I mean, when you're in the airports, you're not really thinking about eating because you're thinking about, I'm on a plane. That's the only thing you need to think about is I'm on a plane. I mean, if you guys understand what that means, it's like you don't want to poop. That's all. You just don't want to poop. You know, I'm on a plane. I'm on a plane.
Well, all the damn food is like expensive at the airport anyway. Well, some of them. Huh.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's all chain stuff. You know what I mean? I like mom and pop restaurants. I
Right.
grew up in upstate New York, so for me, like that's what we grew up on. Like the local convenience store was owned by your neighbor, and the pizzerias were owned by families, and stores, convenience stores were owned by families. Now it's all totally different. Even in the bars and restaurants of like in most inner cities, bigger cities, it's
Mm,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, corporate world. So, what? So, what? I guess can I ask why you're traveling? Was this part of your job?
At this
Right.
point, yeah. Yeah, I play music. So I'm a musician. I got my band 2 Inch Voices. So really for me, a lot of it's show and face. If I can say anything, it's like you have to show up places, you can't just call a place and expect them to put you on. Like they want to see that you can be in their city. That's
Mm,
why well, one of the reasons why I love New Orleans is because it's close. It's an hour and a half away, but the hour time difference puts me there a half hour after I left. So
mm,
basically, I like took a shower and I woke up in New Orleans. You know what I mean? So, but no, I really believe in go to these places, go to the cities that you feel you want to play. Take the time to know more about the city, even the venues there. Who's in
yeah,
charge? Meet that person, shake their hand, give them a sticker, give them a CD, give them a package of some sort, but just show the fuck up.
true. So, how long have you been playing?
I started playing drums. Like kind of like I think like every kid does, where you grab pencils and you take like old Kool-Aid cups and you flip them upside down because you busted the hole in already the plastic side. So you duct
Yeah,
tape that joint. So that's how I started. I just started
yeah,
playing drums. It was all percussion. But actually like playing drums, probably 15 when I sat down and I was like, I can do this. I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
doing it ever since. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's my whole, it's everything. People are like, I can't live without music. No, literally, like I am music. I just love it. I love all of it. I don't even have a
Nice.
guilty pleasure because I just love it all. You know?
That's true. Actually, you're one of the rare people because lately we get bass players and now we got drummers, and you people are hard to find. Bass players and drummers, man.
Well, I started out playing drums, but then
Right.
progressively, so
Right.
then I started playing drums and singing because we couldn't find a singer. So then I was
Mm,
playing drums, doing some Phil Collins shit. Right?
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like in the air tonight. I'm like, listen, I got to be the guy to do this and this because there was nobody else that would sing. This is high school. People are shy as shit. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Call me a nerd. I'm still having fun. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, that's why we do it. So then I started singing, and then I started learning piano, and then I just started singing full time for a bunch of metal bands, and then like kind of like new metal projects and shit like that, and then I started, my band released here out of Sarasota. We had disbanded in 2007, so I just started writing acoustic music and kind of learning how to do that on my own.
Mm.
So I just yeah, so now 2 Inch Voices is just an acoustic project. It was a rock band, it was a 3 piece, but then I was like, you know what? Acoustic. Let's just do it. Yeah. So that's what it is.
So you're based in Florida now.
Correct. Yeah,
What
yeah. I'm in
brought
Sarasota,
you out
Florida.
there from good old New York?
Well, my neighborhood when I left it became a federal war zone. Um, as it's the documents saying this, that, and the other. And honestly, there wasn't a lot of opportunity there when I lived there. So my mom was like, "Well, I'm skating out. If you want to come down, come on down, try it out." So I did. And then I was here for probably 6 months or so. And then my one of my became my best friend, Ray. They had a band that lived across the street. I'm like, there's these dudes with long black hair, black t-shirts on, cut off sleeves, and fucking goatees looking like there's just gnarly ass metal dudes. And I was like, I want to fucking play music with you dudes. I don't care if I got to play fucking keyboards. You dudes are cool as shit, and I want to play music with you dudes. And then me and that dude Ray, we've been friends for 25 years now. Still plays drums. We're still the best of friends. Yeah. So and I
Nice.
just stuck around, man. And
Mm.
then progressively just especially in Florida, it's a very big small scene. Tampa's like the leader of death metal. Like they were a big thing in the 80s,
Yeah.
80s and 90s. I mean, we still got the Corpse though. We got Cannibal Corpse all day long, dude. Those guys are great.
Mm.
But yeah, Florida's it's not what it used to be for the music scene, but there's such great musicians here.
That's what I heard. So basically, currently the scene's like not very great right now. There, so we're saying.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why I go other places, man. Yeah, I I go to New Orleans, I go to New York. I still got my friends and everybody up in New York, and I got plenty of friends and family in New Orleans too. And at this point, I just want to start traveling out. So maybe at some point I'll do a 1 month tour, and I'll wind up, in Indiana. Who knows? I'll wind up anywhere. You know what I mean?
Nice. So
Yeah.
how many bands have you been in? Like just a rough guess. Like
Shoot, man. Probably 2 in high school. Became very involved with electronic music, like drum machines and stuff. So I started getting into industrial music, big on Godflesh, Ministry, Skinny Puppy, Front 242. I don't know if you know any of these bands, but check them out if you like industrial music, or just, I'm big on like Napalm Death, big British band. So their old guitar player, Justin Broderick, he left Napalm in like mid to late 80s and started Godflesh, if you're not familiar. Nasty heavy, but
no,
he's
I know,
got some great.
Yeah, I heard they're pretty like legendary. I just haven't listened to them, and I don't know
Yeah,
why. So I'm
I
eventually gonna
recommend
get
it.
there. I always think of like
I
I always think of like them and like Ministry, and then like I feel like even though Fear Factory wasn't exactly like industrial, there's a little bit of it in there.
True.
But,
Oh,
yeah.
you're right on that.
Go around,
Yeah.
because that whole period was like kind of experimental for everyone, and they kind of came out with some interesting shit. So
Yeah.
basically,
That whole.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to comment. So yeah, I couldn't agree more, because they all kind of popped at the same time, like industrial music, and they're all different. Like Front 242 and then KMFDM, like they're all industrial, but they've all really did their own thing. Like, and not like metal bands where it's like, oh shit, well my man over here is doing this sound and I see it's successful. I'm gonna hop on that shit. It's like they all literally did their own thing and did it so well that they're legends.
Yep. So during that period of time in all the bands, so I guess I'm gonna get to the fun stuff. You got any crazy stories in your upbringing in bands, like little things you can remember?
Oh
now,
yeah,
to then
man.
to currently, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. There's so much time. Like, let's see. Shoot, we can. Man,
Yeah,
we
no, right.
used to play. We used to play this Masonic temple, and so in high school, one of our teachers was a Mason. So he was like, all right, and one of our guitar player was, good friends with him, his family friend. Like where I grew up in New York is kind of small town. There's a lot of people know each other because their parents grew up there and all went to school together. So we wound up getting to borrow this Masonic temple, and it was like it basically turned into like a mosh pit. Like I don't know if you know anything about New York hardcore. Now, mind you, none of these bands that played there were New York hardcore, but literally turned into a mosh pit in the Masonic temple. I now at like between 13 and 15 years old, when you see that, you're like, holy shit. Like then you see like Biohazard videos nowadays, and you're like, oh, in comparison, that was child's play. You know what I mean? Because you think about Biohazard, like true New York hardcore bands, H2O, Sick of It All, Crown of Thorns, Leeway, any Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today, any of those bands that like pioneered hardcore, or even just big in hardcore now, those pits are disgusting. Got my shoulder separated at a Biohazard show. Yes, it did. That shit hurt. That was a big man. He was a big dude, and I've always been kind of a smaller dude, and I was probably 150 pounds. And this dude was a good 320. He was a big dude, like two of me. And his name was Tiny. And he used to be the singer for a band called Straight Jacket, which was from Cahos. So right kind of like neighbors to us. And he just, I swear to God, he sized me up. Like he was at the back of the stage and I was in the middle, and I'm just watching the show, and I looked and I was like, this is going to hurt. And it's just going to hurt. And that's all I told myself. I was like, whatever. So he just ran and then just stage dived, or dove, or however, whatever English there is. And he just got me. Bop! There goes a shoulder. So I leaned up on top of the front barricade the rest of the show, dislocated shoulder, but I wasn't going to miss Biohazard. And watch all the gorillas beat the shit out of each other. Oh, not a chance, man.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I've So once upon a time, I have a band. We still kind of a project. We're split up. Our guitar player lives in L.A., works at the Whiskey a Go Go. He runs video there. If you're ever out that way, his name is Tony. Tell him his boy Jeff says hello, and he'll know exactly who you're talking about. So we were playing a show at a club up in Bradenton, no name, but just a venue. And this guy from a pretty well-known national act, international, big deal, right? I was standing with my bass player, and we were commenting on how we got robbed of time. We were playing with Head PE that night, and we got robbed of time because somebody else's band went over, so we had to cut our time. And my buddy Dubs was like, "Well, that's bullshit." And homeboy's girlfriend, wife person heard that, went back and told that dude. So then that dude confronted my bass player, and I'm standing there, and guy says, fuck you, you don't even deserve to be on this stage. Mind you, we had played, I don't know how many shows with and for this guy as a promoter, at this venue. So Dubs just comes back, boom, sticks him one right in the eye. Just gives it to him. And I was like, I just stood there. His bouncer, because what had happened was everybody knew what had happened. Even the bouncer knew, because we didn't start fights. And this guy started putting his finger in Dubs' face and poking at him. Dubs was like, nope, boom, gave him a good one. And I just stood there and I was like, well, I mean, that's between you guys. I was like, I'm not jumping in. I'm just going to make sure that nobody else does, But yeah, man, I mean, I've seen so here you go. So this is a story not for the children. But anyway, during the 90s, there was this thing that was big in Florida, right? Late 90s, there's a whole rave era. We'll just call it the rave era, right? So Florida was big on the rave area. So there used to be these really, like we were talking off the recording and all just a minute ago. We used to have this great venue called the Brownstone Cafe. There's right next door to that was a place called the Light Painter Gallery. So between those two, that's where all the bands would play. And that's how we all became friends, because there was the one spot in the middle of town where everybody could come from Bradenton or south of there and go play. Well, one night, we were it was our first show, and we kind of got into the rave scene. We applied the rave scene to the music that we were playing. So, and it was kind of in the vein of like, I guess you would say System of a Down meets Tool, with like, I guess if you're gonna go current, I wouldn't say Lamb of God, because it wasn't like jiggity jig jiggy like all chuggity and stuff. But dude, it was just like, fuck man, jerky. I guess you'd say like the drops that like the Deftones have, like when they start like chugging away. Yeah, you could say Meshuggah. Yeah.
You mean like Meshuggah? The Meshuggah,
yeah,
that kind of the gent movement.
Yeah. So we were like playing nasty riffs, like odd time riffs. And I mean, because we were so different, we got compared to the bands like System of a Down, because it's like everyone was playing, stompy Slipknot type of stuff, like or even like what is it, Machine Head. I don't know what you guys know about like that kind of stuff, but heavier shit.
We're not an Amish podcast. We're metalheads too. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's true. No, I figured as much.
Most of us come from metal bands.
Okay, so then on your side, I mean, so then what? I mean, you guys have obviously had to experience some of this crazy shit too. I mean, you can't just like, it's venues like bookers. I mean, you guys have done this shit too, right? Long enough.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that on a lot of episodes. We bring it up. I mean, your case about like another band taking too much time when they weren't supposed to. That's happened to us before. But like, sometimes you have to eat the shit. It's like, well, out of respect for the headliner, we have had to take maybe a song or two out, knowing the fact that we only got a little bit of time. It depends on the show, but if it's somebody huge, we gotta fucking eat the shit and play.
Yeah.
But
we were just a little bitter. That was all.
Yeah, I wouldn't clock somebody for that, but yeah, some people just, I don't know. they asked for it.
Yeah, Dubs is not a violent person, not at all. But the dude poking him in the chest and being in his face, talking about you're a piece of shit, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't. I don't degrade people. I don't I'm not
Right.
like going to sit here and be like, oh, this is the woke world. I'm just literally going to say that I don't believe in beating on people. I don't believe in like the idea that you have to kick someone's ass to get the point across. Sometimes you could just talk to somebody, but this guy was not reasonable. You know, as soon as you start poking somebody, even before the conversation really happens, it's like, you're a piece of shit. You said this, that, and the other. It's like, well, what I said was I felt it was disrespectful that you allowed somebody else to cut into our time, but now you cut our time because, you know, your guys, whoever was in charge, didn't make it happen. You know, it's just it's just the shit that happens. You know, we played plenty of festivals, music festivals, where you're like, all right, well, you got a time slot. You either do your gig and get it over, or you just don't play.
Right. And get the fuck off, or get on, get the fuck off. You know, any other. Yeah, you can't. You know, I don't.
So.
Yeah, I don't like playing those kind. What's that?
No, I'm listening. No,
I
I'm
said I don't like playing those kind of shows, but it makes sense because you know, unless you're first, that's the best because you know you get there to the venue at a certain time, and then you know they do what I call the backward sound check where the main band goes first, and then you're the last person, and it's cool because you just get your shit on there in due time, and then you can leave it before the show starts versus rushing off on and off. I don't. Yeah, that's I don't know. That's the kind of shit I like, but I don't like being like the second band.
I never understood venues that do sound checks. They do like the main band, and then they do like other bands in front of the main band, but then they make those people remove their shit off the stage. I was like, so what was the point of the sound check? Because they have to set it all back up.
Yep.
I mean, I feel this is before presets, so I don't know how how they, you know, like, or you just like what they. I think they write down the main band, their settings, and then everybody else, it's going to be like a scramble. So you won't sound as good as you did at sound check. It's almost like you moved everything. All the mics and shit are going to eventually get moved. Yeah. So yeah, I don't get it either, but somehow it works, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. All I can say is it's never a bad place to be the band before, you know, being supporting. That's always a good time. But I do agree with that. The first spot, I mean, if you can, by the second band, they typically have it dialed in. You know, especially if you're able to share the same kit, like a good venue. Like that's what I like about the Whiskey A Go Go is they have a drum kit that's a good kit, and it's consistent, and the mics are set up for it. They have the exact same mics. It's done the same way every night, and there's already a preset for it. So when we had gone out there, it was fun. Like got to tour the place and meet all the people and just kind of, you know, see the board, and you know, it's neat. It's neat to be able to talk to the engineer and not have it be like some guy in between you. You know, you just literally can get to have that conversation.
I don't know why, but like I assume the roadies and staff look like all like Guns N' Roses, like the bleach blonde hair. They've all skinny guys. I don't know why. I just think like that venue's trapped in time. Is that what they look like? I'm not sure. I've never asked that before. And we know people that play there. Yeah.
There's they've got one dude, Jake, who does all the booking.
What's he look
Mikey, I don't know, 5'11", skinny, not long hair dude at all. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, like he looks. I don't want to say like a normal dude, but like he looks like a ball cap, jeans, t-shirt, skinny dude. You know, no long hair at all, but a super good guy. Mikey's the boss. And honestly, you tote your own shit. I've never seen. I mean, maybe for certain bands are like, hey, listen, we need some people to help out, but for the most part, man, you do it all your own. We played. We played with Edema that night. We played out there, and they did. You know, they only had their roadies. Yeah, there wasn't much of anything going on.
Yeah,
stage stuff. It's just the front of house guy and then the monitor guy. So those two guys will help you out, but both those guys, short haired dudes, knowledgeable though.
Yeah,
fast.
No, it's always good. It's always good when you get like the two sound guys. Like the good venues have two sound guys, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, but you know that's within the budget. But then you're just gonna have the clubs with just one guy, and like, you know, that's all it is, just one guy.
He's got two 12s and maybe 115. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna crush this shit. I'm going in.
Right.
You know. I mean, let's see how this night turns out. How weird's it gonna get? I've done small venues. I mean, shoot, oh my God, I'm sure you guys have bumped into this where you pull up. We played this place down in Fort Lauderdale, and it could have been a cool little venue, but they had this little nook. But they were like, all right, well, who's got PA? And they're like, well, the venue should have PA. Man, they had 112, no stand. The microphone was a 58, but it had a 6-foot cable that was connected to the wall.
Okay.
So, and the drum kit. So then they're like, oh yeah, we got a house drum kit. Oh heavens! Whoever hit this thing literally was like, fuck this thing. And then they just beat the shit out of it. It was duct taped. It had one leg. So then you had to put your guitar amp in front of that. And good luck for playing, really. And yeah, so just if I can say anything, guys, gals out there, whatever it is, bring your own fucking PA, invest in it, and always call ahead, call the venue, find out what they've got, find out what you need, and always bring what you use. Like bring your own microphones, bring your own like cables sometimes, bring extra cables, because you never know. I mean, you guys know shit. We've been doing this long enough to say, listen, carry a gig bag. You don't want to have a musical nightmare, carry extra shit. Do yourself the favor.
Like, well, I personally never like gone on tour. Again, weekend warrior shit. So like, I'm assuming you have toured like the United States, correct?
I've brought my guitar places. I've lived in Las Vegas. I've played in LA, Vegas. I've played New York. I played in different places. You know, I've lived a really great and cool life. I'll say that it's been interesting because for most of it, I've been freelance. You know, kind of doing stagehand stuff. Like as of like 2008, I've been doing a lot of stagehanding. So working for the unions in different cities. So I worked a little bit with Local One up in New York, 702 in Vegas, 321 in Tampa. I mean, all the different ones. Wherever I've lived, I've pretty much tried to just work with the unions because the work is great. It's relatively consistent, especially if you live in a place that has conventions and such, you know, and you make good money. You know, I mean, you're making $25 to $30 an hour, sometimes more if you're a board op or have a specialty like lighting, you know, or do a show call. You know, so if anybody listens and is looking to try to do different shit, you don't have to go get a job at a restaurant. Go be a fucking stagehand. Learn the game. Talk to the musicians because I work at Janus Landing up in St. Pete on and off, and I've been doing it for years. I'm friends with everybody that works there. I know the promoters that do it all. And the reason why is because I've been working there as a stagehand, you know, and then you just get respect. And then you start seeing all these musicians and all the techs that work around. So even if you don't play music for the rest of your life, but you want to be around it, I mean, shit, man, you can be an engineer. But that's kind of what I did was I went to school for a little while, applied what I know based on just sound and writing music and composition and what a mix sounds like naturally. So I went to school for live sound reinforcement and, you know, recording and such. So I was like, all right, well, this is going to be different. You know, DAWs as opposed to like analog gear, you know. And then I moved out to Vegas in 2010. I was there for 2 years, worked in a number of the different hotels and casinos and theaters. And the whole time I was just writing records and releasing electronic music because out there, unless you're a band like Spirit World, which if y'all ain't heard about them yet, check them out. Nasty heavy and super good. And Stu, the guy that fronts that band, is just a fucking stand-up guy, absolute stand-up guy.
I wonder if Spirit Box is gonna fight them for their name.
You know, I think they might lose. I think that might be a losing battle right there because Spirit World is nasty. Like it's some
like,
real
I didn't book
stuff.
you. I booked you with the band with the girl. Oh, that's Spirit World. Oops. Yeah, they get confused. That'd be confusing.
Yeah. Right? They're like, all of a sudden, this is way heavier than we thought it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, they're actually going on tour with Sepultura. I think it's Creator.
Oh, nice.
And like 3 or 4 other bands. Yeah, serious metal tour. It's great for them.
So you're basically our first roadie in a way. Like, I know you're in a band, but you're also like a road crew guy.
Yeah, I'm a stagehand. I've been doing stage, like I said, since 2008. And that's when I went up that summer, July of 2008, worked with Local One and was throwing cable, building Broadway shows. That's what I did for that summer.
Nice.
And when I moved back down to Florida after that, got in with a production company that just happened to be in Ybor City, and I was like, hey, what do I got to do to get on this gig? And they're like,
Hmm.
swing by this office, fill out the paperwork, and then you're in. So I did that. Then I got, over time, I got into the sales side of it, and I started selling, or leasing gear to, festivals and corporate events and all this other stuff through this company that I was doing stagehanding. So I just grew through it, over time. And then COVID hit. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
The
it's all right.
beast hit. So
It's okay.
we got stuck with some stuff for a minute there, as we all know. And
Well,
I got furloughed.
well, hold on. So before you get into the beast there of what happened, in your trip, so like, what's a typical like nightmare scenario is as far as like being a stagehand goes? Like
Oh
any kind of
man.
stories, like
Yeah, you want some? Yeah,
yeah,
here you go. Here you
yeah.
go. So, we got a buddy of ours, older cat named Gypsy, and one day in the back of the 53-foot trailer. So we used to build stages, stage roof, the full concert production. Well, some some uh some people like to do things a little bit differently than others, will say. And my man threw a cross brace down the back of a truck that bounced off of something else, came back and shattered all of his teeth out of his mouth, and just blood everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, on a gig. Like, we're wrapping up, everything's supposed to be good, and it just shatters all of his teeth at the end of the gig.
Yikes.
So
Huh.
that was one.
I guess that's
Um,
a work related like accident. Not really necessarily the
oh,
music, but yeah, I get it. Wow.
yeah. So that was a good one. As far, let's see.
Any
Shoot, man.
yeah, any cool bands that you've had to do the sound or excuse me,
Yeah,
stagehand
yeah,
for? Anything cool
yeah.
like that?
Absolutely. I got to do lights. I don't know if you guys are into like old school hip hop, like '80s and such. So I got to do lights for the Sugar Hill Gang. I did lights
Hmm.
for Modest Yahoo. I did lights for shoot, who else was on that tour with Sugar Hill? Not Cameron, the Scorpion. Shoot, man, I'm trying to remember. But it was a whole like '80s tour of like good hip hop. So I ran lights for them.
Hmm.
I think that, yeah, I think I'm going along with the question here. Um, and I've got to work, actually, some of the nicest guys, man, and gals that I've ever worked with. Tony fucking Danza. I swear to God, I worked with him. I
The
did it.
real one, not the
The
band.
real, nah,
Okay.
the real Tony Danza is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in your entire
Oh,
life, for
nice.
real. So what he did was, it was basically the Tony Danza extravaganza. So it's a legit thing. Like, he does song and dance, tells jokes and stories about how he came up and his mom being his biggest supporter, and how
Hmm.
she turned him onto music and song and dance. And he's, I mean, when he was walking off stage, I was standing side stage. I said, "Thank you, Mr. Danza." He's like, "Hey, kid, hey, thank you very much." I was like, you know what? I was like, every dream I could have ever had about you being any kind of way just fulfilled. You're one of the nicest guys in the world. Even when they're doing sound check, he was like, "Hey, you guys, hey, let's take it back. I think we can do it better." And all the guys are like, "You know what, Tony? You're the truth." And that was what it was, man. It was awesome. He's a
Nice.
sweetheart of a guy. Don Rickles, I worked with him in Las Vegas. Great guy. God bless Don Rickles. What a sweet guy.
Hmm.
Jokes, even off stage. he was 100%. He was always on. Um, man, I worked with Rick Thomas. Oh, listen to this. You want a fucking great story. So,
Sure.
so here you go. This involves tigers. So Rick Thomas is a magician out in Las Vegas. He was a really good friend of Siegfried and Roy. So, Rick got into tigers as well. So he had like 4 or 5 of them when we wound up doing the show at Planet Hollywood, in what was called the V Theater. Big spot. So one day, every morning I would go in and I would fire up the sound system. I'd play music through it, and it would be something different every day. But once I realized that all the dancers and the entertainers were stretching on the main stage before the show and all, I was like, all right, well, hey, what do y'all want to hear? What can I do? Like, just play something upbeat. So one day I played the Beastie Boys. They lost it. They loved the whole time. I mean, who hates the Beastie Boys? You're un-American, and you're not a musician if you don't love the Beastie Boys. Just my standpoint.
Yeah.
So I play the Beastie Boys, and they're just all having a good time. Well, the lead dancer to it, I forget what her name is at this point. This is a minute ago, And so she was just being rude, saying, "Oh, this music is terrible," and yet everybody else having the time of their lives, dancing, swing dancing on the stage. I mean, just doing their thing. So she throws a fit. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll change the music. You know, it's just a little bit more accommodating. I didn't want to upset the superstar, you know.
Huh.
So change the music, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever, you know. And then they all come up to me after warm ups, and they're like, hey, listen, you know, we're sorry that it happened like that. We have a good time. It's just everyone's different. I say, yeah, I don't take it personally. She's the star of the show. That's the way it goes. So we're all backstage now. We're waiting with Rick. We're talking. We're going over the show because you always do a pre and you do a little high five. You know, let's go kick some ass. Well, the cat was behind the curtain, and well, this girl, she was still throwing her shit fit. Not sure why. Just I guess she really didn't like the song, which I don't remember what it was, but anyway. So Rick pulls the curtain wide open, and that girl is standing right in front of that cat's cage, and let's just say she was bathed. And it was the wildest and craziest thing I had ever seen. I was like, that cat just did that because that cat knew that person was mean. And that was yeah, I'd like, I don't know how explicit I can get, you know,
Sure.
but basically, you know, it's she wasn't happy and the cat was. Well, by the time it was all done.
That's fucking terrifying. I don't care.
It is.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
fuck that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's just wild. Animals know people better than people know people. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, they sense evil. So back to the evil. So, I mean, you obviously kept busy for a while, and then like basically when the lockdown happened, like, what did you do during that? I mean, because it sounds like that's a lot of your income. Things closed, you know.
100%. Yeah, well, I've been doing so. All right, when I left, excuse me, wrong pipe. When I left, so to kind of go the story. So I moved to Las Vegas in 2010, left in 2012. Just everybody that I knew was leaving. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to bounce out. So I moved back to New York. I was there for about 4 years till 2016. And then when I moved back down in 2016, my best friend Ray for 25 years, we're still friends till I talked to him actually a little while before I got on the phone with you guys. I've been doing pool design. I do custom pool design. So basically when everything happened and shut down, I just wound up going and sitting in the office for a little bit during the day and kind of answering phones, doing a corporate job. It was the only thing that was available outside of working in a restaurant. And I was burnt out on working in a pizzeria. I've been doing that since I was 15. So it's like, I wasn't feeling that at that time. And then when Ray was like, yo, dude, listen, I could use somebody in the office to answer phones and do designs. So he's like, I'll pay you. So for the last 3 years, that's what I've been doing. And then just this last Friday, I stepped away from the company. I'm still doing designs, but I'm not in the office. I'm just, you know, I'm back to, I realized I was happy making money, but I was unhappy not being able to live my life. And honestly, the freelance side of it as a stagehand, doing these things gave me and gives me the freedom to do these things. So it just kind of, I was at a point and, you know, it was just time. It was just time. So now I'm back to stagehanding, back to the union, doing things in a different way. So that which gives me the amenity to travel. So this July, I've already got the trip booked. I'm heading to Europe for a month, bringing a guitar with me. And I've reached out to the venues there. Whether I get to play this time around or not, doesn't really matter. I just want them to see me there. I want to put my band stickers all over these cities. I'm in Milan for a week, then I'm in Tuscany for a week. Heading up to Switzerland to go to H.R. Geiger's museum at some point, and then I'm going to go up to Amsterdam and just bring a guitar, say hello to people, and put my stickers around and see if somebody lets me do an opening slot. Fucking play an open mic somewhere. There you go. Play an open mic somewhere. You know, I just want to play. That's all it is. I just want to fucking play music.
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's what feels good. I mean, it's the best relationship I believe that any one of us that's a musician has ever had. It's the longest one that we've ever had.
Yeah. So, how many members are in your current band?
Two.
So
I
just two
I
of
write
you?
I
Oh,
write everything.
oh,
Jamie just goes in and drops the bass and throws it down on there, man.
oh,
He just yeah, it's a different way. Only because I've been writing music for a while and I've got 3 albums worth of stuff already out.
mm,
If it's not out, it's all in reserve right now. So I've got an EP. We've got an EP coming out this coming week, next week. 3 songs. It's called Moments in Time. It'll be obviously on all the different streaming platforms and all. But it's 3 distinctively different songs from a time period of my life that I got to write those songs in. So, and it's just something for the people. So
yeah,
I do the writing. Jamie just trusts me to write, and it's like a mixture of different folk and indie. And it's funny because it started out like I started playing acoustic guitar, but playing like slow, like sludgy kind of like
hmm,
in the vein of I hate to use the word sludge with this band, but like I Hate God, Crowbar, if you will, like sludgy shit, heavy, brum, drum, like just real doomy stuff,
yeah,
Weed Eater, Sleep, bands like that, you know. And then I was like, all right, well, I can do this and I can play really fast. It doesn't sound good, but it's really fast, thrashy stuff. Like, like it would be like some napalm shit or some industrial, like, just getting it,
yeah,
you know? But now I was like, all right, well, if the power ever goes out, I can't play. So then I picked up an acoustic. And then I had a job, funny enough, when I was living in New York, I got a job at Al Jazeera America. So I was doing audio there for a while. And that's when I can honestly say I learned how to play guitar. And then also tell you the catalyst for that too. So at Al Jazeera, we would just do live broadcasts for the most part, unless we had a schedule, but then unless there was some sort of a crisis, there wouldn't be anything else to do. So I would work maybe, I would say 30 minutes a day, just put a microphone on somebody in an in-ear piece, change their batteries here and there. You know what I mean? But the rest of the time, everybody there was a musician of some sort. They could sing, guitar, bongos, bass guitar, cellist, flutist, whatever. They were a musician. So here's everybody sitting around playing, and I'm not good at all. Right? I'm talking
yeah,
horrible shit show. Don't know my ass from an elbow chord wise. Can't put anything together because I just don't know what I don't know. And then I learned that I didn't know. So they're learning. They're all playing Hotel California, and I'm over here like, y'all are moving way too fast. So every day when I wasn't on live air, I would just play. I would sit with everybody and just watch their hands and learn how to play. Then I picked up Ultimate Guitar Tab, and that's how I learned how to play guitar.
mm. And
But
this
just
was
be
like
hanging out.
it was more recent than you learned, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is more in the way of like 2014 when I
Okay.
really was like, boom, here's my acoustic guitar. And then I would go home after work and I would just play for hours. And I wasn't trying to read tab or fingers and learn all the technicals. I just wanted to learn how to play. Just let me play some chords, learn some songs, and then that's what got me into playing covers. And that's when
Mm.
Jamie, my bass player now, he heard me write an original song, and from that moment when I was doing a day where I was doing covers, he's like, "I want to play music with you." And it was fucking cool. But now there's some weird shit to that. Okay, so Jamie, like this is gonna blow people's minds. So everyone's gonna be like, "This bullshit." That's fine. I'm serious. It's the wildest shit. I wish Jamie was on right now, but he's just doing his own thing right now. But anyway, so Jamie and I were working at the union, before the beast and everything. Then we were sitting there talking. We're like, you know what? He's like, I'm a bass player. I was like, well, I play drums. That's great. And so all right, well, now we're kind of a talking rhythm section. So then we find out that, we know some of the same people from New York, but we can't recognize each other. Right. I'm like, I don't, what circles? Like, how do maybe we bumped into each other somewhere, somehow. So anyway, we get to wrapping up the night, and we're like, yo, you know what? You're cool. You're cool. Why don't we try and make some music? And we're like, all right, well, I was like, I live on Arlington, and he's like, well, I live on Arlington. I was like, I live near the hospital. He's like, I live on the other side of Tuttle. So my man literally lives 6 minutes away from me.
Mm.
Okay. Never met him, never seen him before ever. And then at this point, we're like, all right, well, that's cool. We're even closer, and that's great. So I'm like, well, give me your number. I'll call your phone. That way we can just do this right here. So I'm dialing it. His name and phone number are already in my phone. I'm calling him on stage, wrapping up pipe and all, and he has my name and my phone number and all my information in his phone. I was like, dude, I don't know how this happened, but me and you are obviously supposed to be friends and doing something musical, because I don't know how else in the world you would have my stuff.
I call that serendipity.
Right. It's something, brother, because it was wild. I was like, yo, I've never had that happen to me before, where somebody's got my name and number and I've never met them, but I've got their stuff too.
This shit happens sometimes. So I was gonna say, so like during the Beast and the lockdown, did you write any music during that? I mean, did it keep you sane?
I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
did.
all
I wrote
most people can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, when in March, we'll call it.
Yeah.
So that's when I got laid off. And at that point, yeah, all I really did was just work during the day. I'd come home and I would just crush. I delved really deeply into the blues. And also too, I started traveling more because it was cheaper. I was going back and forth to New Orleans I've been going to New Orleans since June of 2005. Every 3 months I go for like 4 or 5 days. People ask
Why
me,
New Orleans? Can I ask why there? Just wondering.
oh man, I love the way I feel. I love the people. I love the culture. I love history, and that place has a very
Old as
special
balls.
place in my heart. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
old, man. It's old. It's not America. That place it's a spirit all of its own. And New Orleans will either eat you up or it will give you the world, and that is a fact. And you just be careful where you go around there. Be careful what you say. Keep your eyes out. Just be aware. It's one of those places where if you just got to be aware, man. Know how to talk. Know how to treat people. Be very respectful. Always be respectful there. And honestly, I've written songs about New Orleans because of the experiences that I've had there. And I just had a recent experience too, kind of an eye-opening moment. Like I'm glad that I've been there and I've got friends in these places that, because there was two guys. Here's a story. Here's New Orleans story. I have a good friend of mine, Joe, that lives there. I stay with him every time. It's a funny story how I met him too. But I've known Joe now 13, 14 years. We met in New Orleans. I was living in Vegas. He was living in Utah, and I was in New Orleans with a friend of mine. And she had said to me, "Where do you think you'll meet somebody cool?" And I said, "Well, there's a place right here called the Beer Gun with huge ass beers." I was like, "If anywhere I'm gonna meet some cool people, this is the place." So we went in there, and yeah, come to find out, there was Joe. We did a superhero high five, which is where you run at each other and jump up in the air and high five each other. Been best friends ever since. So that tells you the story about Joe, and that tells you how I make friends with people. We'll just high five.
I need to try that move, but I'll probably get punched in the face instead.
No, it always works. Just always look at the elbow. Just look at at the elbow. So yeah, you have to try it, dude. I'm
I'll
telling
have
you.
to try it at our ice cream parlor, see what happens.
There you go. Yeah, it's a superhero high five.
Yeah.
So Joe lends me his guitar every time I go to New Orleans, so I always have one there. I don't have to bring one with me. This time around, my shoes were a little too clean, and I was on the side of the St. Louis Cathedral down by Jackson Square, and I was just hanging out along the wall. I had my backpack with me, the guitar, but my shoes were just a little too clean. And these two guys walked up. One was the mouthpiece, one was the muscle. It's just like you would hear it in any kind of story, And I was sitting there. I forgot the fucking rules, man. I
What's
forgot the fucking
what's the rule?
rules.
Spit on your shoes?
No, man. If you got something that's worth something to somebody, they might take it from
You
you.
get robbed, huh?
Yeah, you get rolled in that city. You got to
Uh,
watch out what you got to know what you're saying. You got to know how you're talking to people and the way, and you got to know your way around.
yeah.
And like I said, I've been going there since 2005. So I've got friends in the East. I got friends in Uptown, in the CBD, which is Central Business District. I've got friends in the Seventh Ward. We call it the Seventh. I got friends in the Ninth. So, you know, when you go there, it helps to not be like, oh, when someone's like, hey, well, where do you stay? You're like, oh, well, I'm like,
Don't fucking worry about it. That's my answer.
yeah. Well, here's the thing: that's what causes conflict. That
Oh,
city is, yeah, it's different, man. It's a different kind of machine. It's a very different kind of machine. Like kindness goes a long way. It's what do they say? You get them with honey, and you turn them with sugar, or something like that. I don't know. There's some sort of like an old like Confucius say type of thing,
isn't
It's
that a
like
Def Leppard song? No, no.
catch more flies with honey. There you go. So the
Gotcha.
phrase is you catch more flies with honey. So yeah, but there especially, man, because the river ain't far from it's not far. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, there's a song I wrote called The Gallery, and it's about the city of New Orleans and the different things that you'll see and you'll hear. I mean, I was on Bourbon Street at about 9:30 at night for Halloween, and some kid got tackled and his gun goes falling off of his waistband. I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna kind of skate over this way and go do something else.
Right.
So
Huh.
yeah, but it's beautiful. That's just it, man. Like if you get a chance to go, enjoy yourself. Stay off of
Uh,
Bourbon Street after 10 o'clock at night. That's a
yeah,
million
I had
dollar
a.
advice.
That's always the usual time for most of it. Now, I had a cousin that used to live there, and he said it was so awesome, but he lives in Arizona now, somewhere out there.
Oh,
But
whereabouts?
oh, I'm trying to remember if it's Arizona or New Mexico. I don't
Ooh,
know.
either way.
It's like some kind of like it's like some sort of resort, and he works for like the bar area, and since like nobody lives out there, it's his work. Excuse me, the housing's included with his job because like it's like in the middle of nowhere.
That's rich. Heck yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he enjoys it. He's kind of like you. He likes to travel, but no, I had something else before I was gonna say before that. Damn it. Oh, I lost it.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good.
We'll just hit the rails and
Yeah,
I
it was before I said something about my cousin, and then oh well, damn it. Oh well.
yeah, there's so many stories, man. I mean, I've seen, it's uh shit, man. Okay, funny story. Here you go. You want a funny story?
Sure.
So there's this place called the Ritz in Ybor City, and a lot of bands go there. A lot of not great nationals. So this one night, the Deftones were playing, and across the street from there is a place called the Reservoir Bar, dive bar. Right? It was owned by God bless him, Vinnie Paul. So
Hmm.
he was part owner in the business, and so after the show, all those guys pull over. Everybody but Chino pulls up. And it was Frank and Stefan and Sergio were sitting at the table, and I'm at the bar. But the crowd of all the stagehands were over there,
Hmm.
and Abe pulls up. The drummer from Deftones. He walks up behind me, turn around. I'm like, oh hey, what's happening? He's like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm like, oh, all is well. So first interaction with the dude, right? Fast forward like to 2011, I'm at NAM out in LA at the Anaheim there, and I'm wandering through the drum section. Who do I wind up bumping into? It was fucking Abe and Sergio from the Deftones. I walk up to Abe and I'm like, "How you been?" He's like, "Bro, how you been?" I ain't seen you in a minute. And he's like, "I ain't seen you in a minute." He's like, "What was that? Like fucking what was that? Tampa?" I was like, "You actually fucking remember that shit?" You know what I mean? Like just really weird shit. Like Bruce Springsteen is like that too. Like that's just a weird story. Like it's just a happenstance. You're like, what the fuck? How do you remember that, man? I don't
Now
remember
that
breakfast.
right now comes the subject of what I think you might look like get based on your voice, and I think I got two people in mind. You either look like Ray Liotta or you look like The dad from Home Alone, only a younger version.
Shoot, I wouldn't even know who I look like.
So I'm off. I
Gosh.
thought.
Yeah,
So,
no,
all right. Well,
no.
I'm gonna ask if you can turn your camera on real quick so I can see you, and then you can turn it off. See if I was correct.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me see here. All right. What's happening?
You look
I
like
don't know. Can
Brandon.
you see me?
You look like Brandon.
Right.
I say Brandon looks like everybody. No, you totally don't look like who I thought you did.
Totally different
See?
dude.
Look at that. See?
All right. Look at that. What's up, guys? Where's Brandon at?
That is Brandon. I don't know. I never turned mine on because of the
Oh, you
camera.
don't
Like,
ever turn. Oh,
screws-
okay. All right. Oh, what's up, Brandon? How you doing, buddy? It's good to see you finally. You're quiet.
See, if I turn mine on, it looks like this. Hold on. See, that's all you get.
Whoa. Yo, you're literally something out of like, what is that? Phantom of the Opera.
I turned
Whoa.
Edson
cool.
I
spirit
turned into
form.
Jesus.
Your own personal. You know,
You're
who's
not
got a
who
new
I thought
record
you
out?
were.
No, I'm not who you thought I was, thinking that I am right now.
I mean,
No.
you look like you look like a stagehand. I don't know.
You know, I wear mostly all black clothes. It kind of comes
Right.
with it, and I'm wearing my glasses right now so I can read things.
Yeah,
But
that helps.
yeah, it does. At a certain point in time, you're just like, shit, I need glasses. Like you literally, because I haven't been so much, but I write a lot of electronic music, kind of in the way of like Massive Attack, Tricky, Thievery Corporation, some jazzy stuff, like down tempo, trip hop stuff. So for years I was writing this, and my peak hours for writing were between like 3 and 7 o'clock in the morning. So I got the lights out, headphones on, and I'm like deep in music, staring at a computer screen, not using blue light blocking glasses. So I burnt out a lot of my retinas because of that. So now I have to wear glasses because I can't read shit up close.
I guess that's a good warning for everybody. Like, make sure you protect your eyes when you're working on a late night project.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
The glasses
Yeah,
I have
fuck
now
yeah.
block out blue light.
you have to, man. I mean, no one told us, but they also weren't using computers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're in a different era where it's like, all right, shit. Now we're learning. We're the test cases for all these people. You know?
My dumbass, they sent me a laser pointer, and I had my glasses on. I was like, this motherfucker's not working. Everyone's like laughing at me. They're like, yes, it is. So I took the glasses off, and I could see it. It was blue, but because it was blue, my glasses actually did make it to where I couldn't see the blue light.
Wow.
So
That's that's working.
They work.
Yeah, that definitely worked. I mean,
I've
I
never
wish
heard
I
of
knew
this
about it.
shit.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be a game changer. I mean, even if you're looking at an iPad, your phone, there's a lot of blue light that's coming through it. You just don't know. And especially if you stare at it a lot, it's just burning away, man.
Yeah.
Gnarly. There's a musical story. There you go, kids. There's a learning lesson. We did, your uncles did it for you. We're over here sacrificing our eyes and all of our limbs and shit just so you guys gals can go out there and not have to fuck around and find out.
They
Right.
said that's why I was getting migraines, but then over the last couple of years, they figured out there's other reasons why I get migraines. It's not because of the blue light, but I do have special blue light reducing glasses. So there's that.
Huh. Are you married? That's usually a leading cause in headaches too.
Yeah.
You got kids? That's
Yep.
another leading cause of headaches too. I mean, shit, dude, look at you. You're gonna AARP over here in like a minute, brother.
He's
Holy
falling
shit.
apart.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Don't fall apart on us, please. We need you. We need you. So
my
I'm
old ass
try-
body says otherwise, but yeah.
that's all right. Can you still do a cartwheel?
If I want to break a hip,
Oh. Practice makes perfect. Just do it in the pool.
I just started
Just don't-
physical therapy last week, so there's that.
Is that real talk? That's real talk, huh?
Yeah. For
Oh,
my
wow.
neck, I have neck issues. Apparently, I have degenerative neck. I was like,
Oh.
I keep thinking of the old wrestling thing, Degeneration X. They're like, you have degeneration in your neck. I was like, the X is in my neck, doing crotch chops at people.
all that
There you
fucking
go.
headbanging. All that
Yeah.
headbanging.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was like, it's all the headbanging from all the metal band shit that
It
Hell
affected
yeah.
your head. You didn't get a fucking fat neck like Corpse Grinder, or whatever.
no, I just have deterioration in it. It's like falling apart.
Well, I can tell you this, that if there's anything I can recommend, like what it's called a rack. It's called racking. It's when they pull the lower part of your head, and it kind of feels like it's separating from the rest of your spine. That shit is amazing.
Oh, when they the chiropractor does it.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think I
they
kind
got
of.
this like little like rope tuggy, like almost like a
Yeah.
slingshot.
Yeah, I've seen video of it. I don't think mine does that. It
I've
looks
had my
kind of
neck cracked by a chiropractor, and they're actually this therapist. They're like pushing and pulling on my head for my neck and
Ooh.
everything. It feels strange, but
Wow.
apparently it's doing something. I don't know.
right.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll send you a link off when we get off and everything. My physical therapist recommended this thing. It looks like a butt cheek. Looks like a set of butt cheeks, right? It looks like boobs. There you go. It looks like boobs. And it's this little red pillow that sits at the base of your neck. So where your skull and the rest of everything else kind of connect, it sits right there, and it alleviates any tension, and it kind of gives you a resting point because there's two little nodes, and I don't know how metaphysical and spiritual you guys get, but those nodes are a gateway to the metaphysical world and the spiritual world. So if those are clouded, your communication is clouded as well. So if you also have any stresses there, it helps to alleviate those stresses. I highly recommend it. Like I said, I'll send it to you. I bought one and I use it. I highly recommend it.
I
You're
actually
gonna
think I
use
know
it
what
right
you're
now?
talking about. I've seen them before.
Yeah, I recommend it for real. Like it's helped me. I was in a car accident last January, not this one, but prior, and yeah, it was a good one. I got rear-ended. His airbag deployed, so he hit me hard enough to deploy his airbag, but it jerked my neck because my head was turned to the left, and it threw me back in my seat. So it pinched a lot of the stuff on the left side. So I've had to do physical therapy stuff. I can't compare it to what you're going through. I don't know what your pains are and your tolerances and such, but I can say that I feel you, brother, and I really do hope that you feel better because fuck, pain in the neck and in the head, it all sucks, man. That shit's
Yeah.
just terrible.
I wouldn't call it like pain. It's just, I don't know. I always just chalked it off to getting older, and these doctors keep telling me to try this. So I was like, it's just me getting older. They're like, no, you have issues. I was like, whatever. I'm not the person who go to doctors. So I just, for the last few months, I've written it off, but now they've made me pretty much have to go here. So I have like 13 sessions I have to do. We'll see what happens. I don't.
Yeah, you gotta be headbanging, dude.
Yeah, I don't foresee it really correcting my other issues, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, if anything, I just hope you feel better. The other issues, let them be figured. But yeah, just feel better, dude. Fuck, like good sleep. Get a bamboo pillow. If I can tell you anything, that's if you want to help your neck. For some reason, some way, man. There's one of the greatest things I've ever bumped into was a bamboo pillow.
I always see those at the flea market, and I think they're I would think they're bullshit, but I never buy them, so I don't know.
I'll tell you firsthand, they stay cool. So if you like a cool pillow, like temperature wise, go with the bamboo. It stays super cool, like bamboo sheets. Like your sleep will help with your neck, especially the pillows, man. Just get like one or two bamboo pillows. You'll fucking sleep like a king. Oh, it's a game changer. Man, listen, as much time as I spend sleeping, or we all spend sleeping, it's got to be like you're sitting on the porcelain the perfect toilet. You know what I mean? Like you almost want it to be one of those kind of goes when you sit on it, but you don't because somebody else's sweaty ass has been on it. But you want that for your sleep. You just want to fucking feel like you're the king of your shit, and that's where you're at.
Yeah. Eventually, I have to buy another pillow because I have a big fucking Mr. Potato size head. So there's a lot in this brain going on. There's a lot of brains, but I'm not a very brilliant guy, so whatever.
You're running shit. That's all. Hey, you run shit behind the scenes, and sometimes that's the best place to be, man.
Not always, but depending on what it is. So
yeah, touche.
I'm trying to think. So I had a question about like your roadie stuff, your stagehand. So on a typical day, what would what would you be doing? Like, yeah, I want to hear like your schedule of like a roadie day.
Yeah, roadie day. Roadie day at Janus is, honestly pretty standard. The stage is already built in, sound system is already
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Lighting truss, the lighting's already in, everything's in, it's already set up.
Yeah.
But in most cases, depending on the size of the production, we do Hammerfall, which last time they were in town, they brought a
That
giant
band
tank.
actually Hammerfall.
Yeah,
Damn, I heard they have like a
Hammerfall.
huge fucking like the whole fucking get up stage up shit
Oh,
like
it's
that.
huge. It is. It's fucking
Mhm.
massive. It's like they got a giant tank that encompasses the drum kit, and every time the double bass kicks, it like sends out this like boom 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 through all the through the fucking cannon itself. It's
Mm.
sick. Lights go off. It's bananas. It's one of the best stage productions, and it's awesome. Yeah. So basically, we would unload all their stuff, bring it in. When we get there, hang out for about an hour. Everyone shows up, high fives, hugs, and then say how you doing, because some of them, if not all of them, wind up going out on tour. So then it's just another group of our friends that come in, and so we all know each other because we've all been doing production for years together.
Yeah.
So, oh, hi, Hems. So then we hang out, do the work, that unload the trucks, and then we set the stage. They start pointing and clicking and telling us where they want what to be set up. In most cases, they'll plug all of it in unless it's power, but
Mm.
they know how everything's going to be patched. And I mean, some companies, dude, they've been all working together for years, so they're a machine. All
Yeah.
they want you to do is just put their stuff on stage where they need it, and they just tell you to walk away, and they patch everything. Now, that's a perfect day. It doesn't
Yeah.
always happen like that.
How
You
long does
know,
how long does a perfect day take? Like how long would that take there? What you just said.
oh man, if the guys are running it, I mean, we can have everything done in 2 hours,
Okay.
quick,
Cool. Yeah.
pretty quick. So we would do that for about two, and then we hang out. We wait for sound check, and then once the band is ready, they do sound check, and that usually happens, after we load in all the openers. So we set all their gear aside, and then we sound check the national, or the head of the tour, and just backline everybody else.
Mm. Nice.
Yep. First band comes up, do them, take their stuff down, bring up the second band, and it's a moving machine. Everybody
Yeah.
knows what their job is, and yeah, you know what's good. And
So
then
at yeah.
so then
At the end.
after the
Yeah.
the
Sorry.
headline, once the headliner's done, we tear their stuff down, and we try to load all the bands after they're done. So to load all their gear, unless they're all on the same 53 footer, we try to load their trailer or their whatever it is that they brought their gear in. We try to get those bands out of the way so that we can tear the headliner down. Because in some cases we need to bring the forklifts, because they got a lot of heavy shit on stage. So we never
Mm.
really, we're not crushing ourselves. No, everybody's respectful. It's communication. You also paying attention. You got to know what you're doing. Somebody asks you to do it, you got to know what you're going to be over there doing. So,
Yeah.
but after that, I mean, you could be in there, I mean, 10:30 in the morning and get out at midnight, 1 o'clock.
Mm. Wow. So makes for a long
Hmm.
day, but I get it. Yeah.
Yep. The pay makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a long day, but you make good money. And I mean, listen, you're paying me to hang out with my friends and go to shows.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Cannibal Corpse. I've seen what is it, Tosh something, the girl there. Sultana, Tosh Sultana. I've seen her. I've seen dude, so many metal bands and bands that I never thought I would ever see at that venue.
Mm.
And I mean, I've seen the Reverend Horton Heat there. Shit, like I said, the Sugar Hill Gang, that was a treat. I mean, when the hell did I ever think I would see those dudes? I thought they all retired, like the Wu-Tang Clan. All of a sudden, the Wu is back. Ah, and I love the Wu. So, I mean, that's just hip hop. I love old hip hop.
So
But
basically, like this venue still, it's basically still hopping currently.
oh, absolutely, yeah,
Yes. So like
absolutely.
basically the beast didn't affect it too much. As soon as like shows opened up, it's like, all right, let's do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
I
took
mean,
about a year. It took about a
about a
year
year.
for the whole drive-in. I don't know if you guys know about the whole drive-in concert experience thing that they were trying to do for a while. It caught on to
Oh,
certain places.
that was silly, but yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, even because I was still doing sales. This was still happening, so I was like, they're like, well, call them and see if they want to do like stages with video walls, and I'm like, I don't think anybody wants to do shit. I was
Yeah.
like, these people are all terrified. No one's going fucking anywhere. They're countries that are shut down with fucking people dying. No one wants to do a damn thing. I mean, this as a true story. Another one, like it could have been fucking really gnarly. So, released my metal band. That's the three of us are here, and the other dude's over at the Whiskey A Go Go. He's out in L.A. So we go out to the Whiskey and play. This was December 12th of 2019. So this is just before COVID hit. We went out, we played the show. Our buddy Tony was sick as fuck the whole time we were there. He's like, "Oh, I don't know what it is. I just feel horrible. I'm throwing up. I got a horrible fever." But I got to do laundry. So like, we're thinking, all right, well, he's just sick. Maybe he got food poisoning or something. He's throwing up. I mean, that's a pretty common occurrence in food poisoning. If you haven't been food poisoned, don't really just try not to.
Good luck.
Total disclaimer.
I've felt that before.
So, just a disclaimer out there, kids. Stay the fuck away from bad food and stinky feet. If you
Taco
got
Bell.
both, Taco Bell, don't eat. I mean, nothing against Taco Bell. We're not trying to disrespect you, but sometimes you give us the toots or the skids,
Yep.
sharks and the farts, the things. Yeah, road trip food. Yeah, that's no,
Yeah.
not if you can't find a bathroom for 100 fucking miles. Got a mud in a bag. Ugh, that's terrible. Listen. I didn't know. I don't know how curt we can be or what's
You're
what.
allowed
But
to.
just
No, you can do
okay.
say whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Just
We're
just
not
certain-
family
certain
friendly.
things. Okay. We're good for every family. We're not might be family friendly.
We're
Ah,
just
what
not for
him?
every family.
There you go. Exactly. Maybe the Adams family. I
Yeah.
can dig that. The Munsters.
Right.
Yeah. Go way off the rails.
Sorry.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. You had asked me a question and I just took away with it. That sometimes happens.
I think what did I say?
He kind of addressed it.
Okay, yeah.
Bring it up one more time. We'll bring it up so I can.
He was just
finish
asking
if-
how the place you were working at, how it handled the whole
Oh,
lockdown
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You answered it,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was good for it took about a year, and then everything picked back up once the band started touring again, and then the whole drive-in experience ended, thankfully. Ugh.
I feel like some other people brought up that like tours are getting overbooked because people are trying to make up for lost time.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look at bands like Lorna Shore. They get on. They're booking headlining these deathcore, grindcore type of festivals. They're not even shows anymore. It's not 3 bands. It's 7. Like, holy shit.
I would
I mean,
never.
it's-
Yeah, I've said that before. I never thought a band like that could get that big. That's kind of crazy considering like the vocals where he sounds like he's dying, but it's like I never thought a band that harsh and fast would ever get that popular that quickly.
Yeah. Well, you know who set the way for him was Suicide Silence.
Right.
God bless Mitch, and his beautiful world. Great person.
I've never really listened to them, so I probably should because the guitar player has a podcast. He seems like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
I'd have to listen to them.
I don't know. I've listened to them. I have some of their stuff, but I always watch this video. I don't anymore, but I used to. It was basically just the vocals without the music. And it always made me laugh. I was like, do I sound this bad too when I'm recording vocals?
There you go. Yeah.
It literally always made me laugh. I'll send it to you sometime, Ed, if you haven't seen it. I'll have to find it. It fucking cracked me up.
So basically Mitch without the music?
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
I don't know what they sound like. That's the funny part. It's like I don't know what they sound like, but back to what you said, yeah, like the whole Lorna Shore and like headlining festivals and whatnot, and
music's taking a different. It's crazy because they're their verses are real fast, but then when it comes to like choruses, like they just drop halftime. So it's almost like some hate breed type of shit if you put it in like a sort of perspective, like in a hardcore way. I mean, like I said earlier, I kind of grew up listening to a lot of New York hardcore growing up in New York, and then plus the local bands. So then all those bands were influenced by, the forefathers of, like Gnostic Front, Biohazard, like I said, H2O, Sick of It All, Gorilla Biscuits, Used to Today, Leeway, which was a like strange, cool crossover band. It's but all those bands just it's fucking neat. Just inspired.
I feel like
fast.
Times like these, I think we need a SOD reunion.
That shit would be awesome.
I don't see why not. It seems like lately bands are reuniting, so it's like that probably should happen. I mean, if Pantera can kind of reunite, like I feel like again the guys in Pantera are an SOD, so it's like okay.
That's not even really Pantera though. Let's be real.
No, but like it's
the
funny.
Two brothers are dead. Like it's
yeah, but SOD could still be reunited if because the two guys are an SOD, so it's like might as well wait. No,
dude, I love that Mr. Bungle is back to put out a new record. That shit's fucking bananas.
That is that's a very strange band for sure. Like I don't understand what they are other than the last album's pretty thrashy, but like it's different for sure.
I mean, it's funny because I had read this article with Mike Patton, and he's like, and they're like, well, what do you think about the new Mr. Bungle lineup? He's like, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you had the band that with all the dudes that influenced you to write the music that they're now fucking playing? He's like, how do you think that'd make you feel? And the writer was just like fucking mind blown because Scott Ian from Anthrax influenced because, Mike Patton's over in California, Anthrax is in New York. So to get that music that far during that time, you know what I mean? Like kind of an unheard of thing then. Now it's like literally a blink of an eye and you've got everybody's playlist that wants to share it with you. But to get that information over there, I mean it's and then to be influenced and then have that dude. So it was funny to read that thing when Mike was like, well, what do you think it would be like? Shit. Yeah,
funny if you asked me that, yeah. But like I feel like the invention of like the live stream concerts, and I feel like a lot of interesting things came out, probably collaborations,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I would like to see Dave Mustaine and Metallica make up and see that band on stage at some point.
I don't think that will ever happen.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think. I want to honestly say on the record, like Mustaine's got too much pride for that. I bet you that Metallica they collaborated with a lot of people, and if that happened, it'd be a chance in hell. But like, I feel like Mustaine, if it was offered, he would still be stubborn because he's known to be stubborn. So you can't change that guy.
He's still bitter.
Yeah,
sure,
guys. Oh yeah, I would imagine. I mean, he still talks about it. Like David Ellefson was like, "Yo, I wish Dave Mustaine would just shut the fuck up about Metallica." Said in a recent article. I mean, he's like, "Listen, I just wish he would stop talking about it."
Is that what that article's about? Yeah, is that yeah, I didn't know that. I saw that, but I didn't read it. Because I'm like, I guess
it's just he mulls over it. I mean, you can't mull over something. You started your own band, and that band is badass. I mean, Megadeth, like some of the thrashiest riffs that still inspires bands like Testament, and it's
I think at that point, like, I don't know why he cares because they're not as big, but they're still big. Like a household fucking name. Like
the number 2 band. Like he's not going to top Metallica, but like they're the next band down.
And nobody's ever said. And honestly, and there's never been like this could be funny, but I don't feel like a lot of Megadeth fans have really left Megadeth in general. Like as far as the music style, they went a little bit different, but like people have been devoted. Metallica, when they went kind of their weird thing, they lost a lot of fans, gained new ones, but like a lot of the old school thrash people, they fucking hate them now, and which makes sense. They kind of went separate ways, but nobody ever said I hate Megadeth. No, they just I like Megadeth. There's a few albums I don't like, but I still love. See, it's like
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Testament to
you're
who
right
they
on
are.
that.
Same with Testament. Everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who hates Testament. They're a good band live. I've seen them several times, but like, I don't know. I just feel like he should appreciate being the number 2 influential thrash band of all time.
Yeah, I mean, really,
You know,
like it shouldn't be a problem. You should celebrate that shit. Your name is up there with the legends.
yeah,
I mean, I think honestly the whole thrash came from Metallica, came from Dave. I mean, he basically carried that same sound, and they just kind of worked together because Kirk is a good lead player, but it's just different. It's different now.
right. And there's a lot of drugs that probably influenced the thrash.
Oh yeah, a little
Drugs and
bit, maybe a
booze.
couple. Yeah,
Like, it was
maybe a
like
couple.
yeah, a little bit of cocaine. Brrr. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Well, we could probably get ready to wrap this one up.
Yeah, you let me know. We could talk for hours. I mean, if you just want to shoot the shit, that's really like all music stuff, places that you can do, things you can do. I just appreciate it, man. Yeah, I love to get to share stories.
mhm.
Love sharing stories.
You sent a song right before you hopped on here with us called Scorpion. Do you want to talk about that a
Yes.
little bit?
Yeah, so the new EP, that is one of the singles that are going to be coming off of that next week. It's a story that it's just a story. It may fall true for some people, but basically the kind of the idea is you started in one state and you wound up in a different one, and you don't know how you got there. Kind of almost a hangover, but you knew where you were and you wound up in the same state, but you just don't know how you got where you are in that other state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has
Or
nothing
whatever
to do with
state
has nothing to do with Scorpion King, like with the Rock.
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Good movie though. I'll always celebrate that movie, Scorpion King. It was good. I mean, I like The Mummy too. Like, I like cheesy movies. Like I said, even music and movies, man. I spend a lot of time watching stand up because I love to laugh. That's my like Elf. Oh, laughing's my favorite. It fucking really is. I mean, it's so easy to not be happy, but it takes a little bit of work to just be like, you know what, shit's gonna be all right. Just fucking laugh.
Right.
But yeah, so
Very
the
true.
Scorpion is kind of like that, where you take the experience, maybe listen to the lyrics, let the lyrics tell you the story. The musical get you there, but the lyrics will tell you the story.
Yeah,
if I can
very
say
true.
anything about it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Like a lot of songs.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, like songwriters like we'll call Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction, heavily influenced by people like Susie and the Banshees, Bajas, Led Zeppelin. You listen to Ritual de lo Habitual, that record, all day long, man. I mean, it's epic drumming, kind of like some John Bonham stuff. I mean, with some blues. I mean, it's all right there. Great storytelling with the music to tell. Kind of get you there with it. Yeah. All those bands.
Hell yeah.
Well, again, Jeff, we appreciate you coming out here talking with us.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank you, Jeff.
definitely. The band is called 2 Inch Voices. The song is called Scorpion. So we're going to roll on out here in a second. That's what's going to be playing. But again, everyone, thank Jeff for coming out and talking with us. And if you want to be on Dark Side of the Scene, send an email to brandon@darksideofthescene.com and we'll get you scheduled on a future episode. But we're going to roll on out. See y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.
Woke up in the morning, happy to feel my soul. Somewhere in the heart of New Mexico. Said I woke up in the morning, happy to feel my soul. Somewhere in the heart of New Mexico. And the last thing I remember is the old red glass and said, cheese. The last thing I remember, then it all goes black from here. thing I remember is we all raised a glass and said, cheese. The last thing I remember, then it all goes black from me. Well, I said to a man, tell me what do you know? He said to somewhere in the heart of New Mexico. He said to watch for the scorpions, the snakes and the ghosts. Yeah, down here in the heart of New Mexico. The last thing I remember is we all raised a glass and said, cheese. The last thing I remember, then it all goes black from here. The last thing I remember is we all raised a glass and said, cheese. The last thing I remember, then it all goes black from here. It's the same old song, Well, I woke up in the morning happy to feel my soul. Yeah, down here once again in New Mexico. The last thing I remember is we all raised our glass and said, cheese. The last thing I remember, then it all goes black from here. Last thing I remember is we all raised our glass and said, cheese.